Hey, oozes and bunnies. This is a preview of the most recent Party Planning, an extra podcast that the Join the Party crew makes for our Patreon. If you want to listen to the whole thing, go to patreon.com/jointhepartypod. Check out this preview. Julia's bringing fighting energy into party planning. She said she was gonna fight me outside of Nassau Coliseum after an Islanders game.
I had therapy and then coffee, and I think that's not the order in which to do these things. So
I
now
disagree.
I'm feisty.
That's great. Your brain is settled. You caffeinated. If you told me you had lunch before this, that would have been a grand slam.
You know what? I started making lunch, and then I was like, I don't have time to finish this lunch, so I'm going to have lunch after this.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
That's my game plan.
Because
the coffee's getting me through.
When we record Join the Party, you and Brandon apparently are aesthetic monks before in the... Well, for you fast, and Brandon makes a bunch of beer before.
I was going to say, to Brandon's credit, we record 9 a.m. his time, so he shouldn't have eetten lunch.
No,
I don't
fine.
have an excuse.
No, Brandon is brewing beer on the top of a mountain for a few hours before we record Join the Party.
Yeah, he doesn't wake up and then instantly roll into his office. Definitely not.
No. He takes out his journal and he writes down some stuff, but mostly he's making like really weird doodles in on the margins, and then he's brewing really high ABV beer. So this is the energy that Julia's bringing. I like when you take care of yourself before we record. Good.
I do my best.
It's good. See, this is party planning. We're saying truths to each other because on party planning...
And kindnesses.
Yeah. On party planning is when you tell the truth.
And everything else is a lie.
Yeah. I'm holding up... You can't see in the audio, but in the video, you can see I'm holding up little signs for Julia saying how much it makes me happy when she eats food before we record.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's still January, but I'm making Love Actually references. That's what I'm doing, folks.
It's a terrible movie. That's my hot take. It's really bad. It's a bad movie.
I think that's when people thought Britishness was exotic. Still. I think that James Corden really broke the spell.
Yeah, we were like, oh wait, no, some of them suck.
Yeah, it's like go away, and he's like no, and then he does a little dance. Yeah, when they wouldn't take James Corden back, I think everyone was like, oh, huh. Yeah,
that's our bad. I also think that a lot of people have, this is an actual answer, I think a lot of people have nostalgia for Love Actually because it has so many actors who like went on to do really cool things after that.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wait, this person was in this movie, we have to watch it. And you're like, no, it's just a bad movie.
Well, to tie the two things together, I think it's related because there's only 5 actors in all of Britain. And one of which is Jasper Cartwright, who's on paternity leave.
That's true.
So it's like, and then all the other ones are in the Harry Potter movies. Like, I think that it's the fact that like they're in all the same stuff, and and there's only allowed to be like 30 at a time, and the king or queen needs to like designate you, like your Kingsguard. I think it is kind of the complication. It's like, of course Alan Rickman is in it. Of course Martin Freeman is in it. Of course Leah Thompson is in this. Who else would be here?
I mean, also the problem is it's 8 movies and there's 800 characters. So it makes sense that they are all in that. It's like how all the British actors who are now in things were also in Game of Thrones. And you're like, I know that guy from Game of Thrones. And you're like, but now they're in a weird safe cracking movie. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the thing. Yeah, and like the story moves so fast you forget what happened in the last one. And then you're like, oh, we're here again. That's nice.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean showed up. I love that. And you don't think about it for a second how wild so many of them is.
Yeah. Facts.
Absolute facts. See, we're in a fighting energy because we're recording Party Planning. It's Eric and Julia. So what we're doing, we're going to talk about our favorite sandwiches on here, the in-between, where Eric and Julia always talk about their favorite sandwiches.
Here's my hot take. I don't really like sandwiches that much.
What?
I'm not a huge sandwich person. I feel like we've had this discussion before.
I don't
very
think
picky.
so.
I'm very picky about my sandwiches. I think a lot of cold sandwiches suck balls. And I think that a lot of hot sandwiches are too messy.
I mean, you're right. I guess maybe is this a standards issue? Because you are from one of the places that invented good sandwiches.
That's true.
Like the Italian sandwich is incredible, and the various permutations of it. You also are from the land of big sandwich, so I feel like, is this a standards thing?
That might also be the problem, is I'm from land of big sandwich, and when I want sandwich, it's like too much bread, too filling, and then I'm like, what am I going to do with the other 3/4 of this sandwich?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like Long Island is one big sandwich when you think about it.
When you think about it, it's one big sandwich that splits at the end like a tail.
Yeah, everyone's wearing those shirts that's like Long Island as a fish, but what if they wore what if they wore the shirt where it's a big sandwich?
Yeah, where it's just a sub, but then it splits at the end.
That would be awesome. That would be
That'd
tight
be
as hell.
cool.
But no, that makes a lot of sense. You could make a bad sandwich. I think that my standards are also super high, but I think I have seen the top of the mountain of the form, and I like it. And this reminds me of, I'm getting to the point where like things that are Instagram-y, I'm realizing are also bad. And I'm not saying I didn't know that. Of course I knew that. I've been on the internet since I was 12. But like, I think as it's come into like the intersection of food media and also my local places that I can go to, like I went to my first place that got a lot of attention on Instagram, where I went and then it was very mediocre. It was
What was the place? Give me the hot take.
I can't remember. It was a few months ago. I can't remember the name. I think the thing about it was that they have the Dutch crunch bread.
Oh.
Where it's like, I don't know if for listeners at home, like imagine it's like a crag, kind of like the top of a tortoise, but it's a sand, but it's for bread, and it's very pillowy and very fluffy. And it's very hard to make because it takes a lot of, maneuvering and stuff, and it makes very fluffy sandwiches. But I feel like this place relied on the fact that one, they had the Dutch crunch bread, and two, they were making weird sandwiches. It's like, what if it was a Szechuan dinner in a sandwich? Or what? It was very reliant on mayo and like sauces and bread to get their point across, which I thought, from being the land of meats and cheeses, and both in Brooklyn and in Long Island in general, I thought was just really annoying. So I was just like, oh, this is really bad, and I don't like it, because like, on the other hand, so many places that make Instagram-y sandwiches are very good because, one, the ingredients are top tier, but also you keep layering the meat. It can't be bad. You can eat it in pieces. You can eat it in eighths. But like like when you make a giant sandwich and then they wrap it up really, really tight with the wax paper.
Yeah,
and then
it keeps everything in place.
And it looks like a kaleidoscope when they cut it in half. Like, that's always good. I was hungover on New Year's Day, and I got, Anthony and Sons? I've told you about Anthony and Sons, right?
I've eaten Anthony and Sons. We had it for your birthday. Remember?
Oh, right. Yes, of course. It's my favorite. It's probably one of my favorite sandwich places ever. It's in New York City. I'll put a link to their Instagram because it's really great. And it's just another like Italian sandwich place that makes really crazy sandwiches. Like, they do the Italian American thing where they shove like a chicken cutlet or mozzarella sticks or fries into everything. I got one of the really crazy sandwiches, and they're hot. I usually get the cold ones, but this one in particular was hot because it had...
Well, if it's got a mozzarella stick in it, it's got to be hot.
Well, I got the one with the mozzarella stick in it. It was vodka sauce and mozzarella sticks and a chicken cutlet and all the stuff. And then I got it and I ate it, and yes, I ate only that for 12 hours. But it was so good, and actually was like not that crazy when it's wrapped that tight as a kaleidoscope.
Yes. It's all about like really you're saying it exactly right. If it's not created appropriately, then everything's sliding out and you're getting just like bites of just bread, or you're getting like, sauce all over your hands and stuff like that. I think it's like one of those things where it has to be made properly, and it doesn't matter how good the ingredients are. If it's not made in a way that is like enjoyable to eat, then it's a bad sandwich.
Well, do you have this issue where it's too sauced? I guess that's the thing is like instead of you need to make a hot sandwich that needs to be wrapped up. But it's like, oh, but what if I really fuck it up with Grandma Nana Gina's vodka sauce extravaganza? And yeah, I totally, it's not a hand food anymore.
Right.
Then what are we even doing?
And then it's only enjoyable for a certain amount of time because then the bread gets soggy and everything gets cold. And it's like, it doesn't, I need like, again, my problem is size, so I need something that's going to be good for leftovers the next day as well.
Oh, for sure,
and
for sure.
So many sandwiches do not hold up the next day, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. That's why Tony's Tacos is so good.
Yeah, because you just eat it all in one go, but you're still getting that like experience of eating the sandwich. It's Eric, can I propose something?
Yeah.
We have a idea of what we want to do here for a creation lab.
Yeah.
Do you want to do food instead?
I was thinking of us doing food. We should just do that anyway. That was my second. We were going to do that for the next. I was going to propose that as our next one.
Well, we're just so into it now. We might as well just do it. And we'll save the other option for next time.
We will. I'm going to say 2 more things and then we're going to do the character creation lab.
Let's do it.
That was great. My favorite part was the accent work. If you like that, you got to hear the rest of Party Planning by joining the Patreon at patreon.com/jointhepartypod.